Kiko-san, thank you very much for the introduction, and good morning from Paris to everybody. Very nice to be here with you, and yeah, congratulations on the founding of the Asia CCUS Forum, and the SEM CCUS initiative is very happy to be one of the supporting members of the new network. So looking forward to working together. If it's okay, Kiko, I will share a couple of slides from my screen and then answer your question. Let me just
yes, actually we are getting ready to share the screen from our side.
Oh, okay, great, wonderful. Yeah, okay. So and we can take these down in a moment and continue without them. But just to highlight, so the Clean Energy Ministerial, the SEM, is a global process. It's a process because it doesn't really have a legal form per se. 29 member countries from around the world who collaborate on clean energy deployment. There's, the SEM members make 90% of clean energy investments, or 90% of clean energy investments are made within the SEM countries, but also are 3/4 of global CO2 emissions. So it's a very, very powerful and relevant partnership. The process is voluntary, and there's no binding targets in this process as such, but these members are really all totally committed to supercharging clean energy deployment. Supercharging is the new buzzword from the previous 12th Clean Energy Ministerial meeting, which was held just the first week of June this year, hosted by Chile. You see the logo on the right-hand side here, and also a website on the right-hand side. There's great content available on that website, so please go and have a look. Hours upon hours of interesting events that are still there for you to view. Now, if you would move to the next slide, please. Okay, here's a lot of pictures. I will explain a few of these to unpack this a little bit. So the CCUS initiative is one of the work streams under the SEM, and we are essentially a platform, bring together 12 of the SEM governments with the common objective to accelerate CCUS together. And the flags of our members are at the bottom of this slide. Our work is on strategy and policy level. It's government-led, but it's not government only. So there's actually a lot of collaboration between the finance sector, with industry, and key organizations. Now, the top left corner of the slide is really our first objective, which is to ensure that the SEM process more widely gives due consideration for carbon capture, among other clean energy advancements. And this is actually what we've just done at the 12th SEM. We did 3 events there, and we've actually never previously seen this level of visibility for carbon capture in the SEM meetings. And I'm saying this because it's quite important, because I think one of the roles that we have is really to mainstream CCUS so that it becomes part of the natural discussion when we discuss clean energy deployment more widely, and not just a specific discussion somewhere else. And that's what we're trying to achieve, because there's clearly need for that still around the world. Now, top right-hand side of the slide, then our platform brings together governments, private sector, and the investment community. And you see some of the partner organizations there and their logos. No surprises here. I would like to mention the finance sector lead group for CCUS that we set up last year. And this has been a really interesting and fruitful series of meetings with now more than 20 finance sector organizations, some of which are also in the meetings today and even in this panel. So this group is a place for conversation between governments and the finance sector on looking at how we can make CCUS a more investable proposition and what type of government policies is really needed. And last year we indeed published the key financing principles for CCUS, which is a really simple 10 principle document that hopefully can spur some further development and thinking on CCUS and financing. Now, bottom left of the slide is all about facilitating identification of both near and longer term investment opportunities. So we have been bringing industry, governments and banks into previously or currently virtual meeting rooms to discuss concrete options and opportunities. We've done discussions around Europe, around Canada, and actually next week we're going to have another discussion which is concentrating on Asia, together with ADB and with Oil and Gas Climate Initiative. And these are not webinars, but they're meetings among participants where you really discuss where different next opportunities might lie. And if you're curious about this, get in touch. Our email address is at the bottom right-hand corner of this very busy slide. And then fourthly, we disseminate best practice, both publicly and also among our members. If you go on YouTube, search for SEM CCUS webinars, you will find our content. And the next upload should be actually our side event from the 2021 Asia Clean Energy Forum that we just ran last year. But very importantly, internally, we also share best practice because we actually meet once a month. And I think we're a unique government group that actually comes together once a month to discuss and to share on where different government policy developments are going and what the strategies are. And that's actually very interesting. We're also on LinkedIn and Twitter, and you can look us up over there if you're interested. We can maybe take the slide down, and I can say a few words then, Kiko, to your question. I think a lot of things are happening on policy level in various parts of the world. But if we look, for example, at Europe, there's a number of things coming from the European Union from EU level. There is obviously the climate law and that whole background that will set CCUS into a context and actually call for quite a bit of CCUS to be deployed in Europe as well to reach Paris targets. Then, of course, there's financing mechanisms available. There's the Innovation Fund. There's EU ETS as a basic driver for the whole economy. It may not be quite there to drive very large-scale deployment of CCUS yet, and that's why you need something else as well. But it's definitely absolutely vital for the future. Plus, then fourthly, there's the whole R&D package that the European Union, the European Commission is running. Now, but I think the more important action actually in Europe is on country level. Taking a number of examples here. If you take, for example, the Netherlands, there's a vision to have over 7 million tons of CO2 captured in the next decades by CCUS, and also currently now a 2 billion euro support package for a number of projects to do that in the Rotterdam port area. But there's also going to be new rounds for further support in projects elsewhere in the Netherlands. So there's both a vision and a real financial incentives on the table. Similarly, in the UK, there's a vision to have 2 large hubs by 2030 and 2 more a bit later. £8 billion on the table, plus also discussion and development of a revenue mechanism that could supplement the £1 billion fund. So there's again both a kind of a target and means available. Norway, of course, the Longship project and the Norwegian government's support of roughly 17 billion Norwegian crowns, 1.5, 1.7 billion euro for a large centralized storage and transport infrastructure, plus 1 or 2 capture plants, is also a well-known example of this development in Europe. And then, very interestingly, some new countries are coming into play in Europe. For example, Denmark. I think a 180-degree turn in their view on carbon capture just over a couple of years. Very skeptical 5 years ago, but now really driving full ahead with the CCUS strategy, and they are going to be announcing their strategy and financial incentives during this summer. So really interesting developments going on there as well. Plus then elsewhere also on the North Sea coast, you see industries starting to discuss CCUS hubs, for example, in north of France and also Belgium. So there is quite a bit of activity going on at the moment, and I think the main last point I would make, which is important, it is that the government's industrial sector and the finance sector should really be brought together as early as possible, so they can all start together driving these projects ahead, because it really is a three-legged stool to make investments in CCUS. Gosan, everybody, I would stop there, and if there's time for further questions later on, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.